Hey everybody, welcome back. Here we've got the infamous Raptor. As you see here, I talked about the stand I was waiting for. Well, it came. There's the cruising stand. You can see it works great with this big old airplane. It's very well built. It's all made in the USA. So it's adjustable. I'll have another video just on that, but anyways, I wanted to show you what I was using to build it on. You can see it sits on there just fine. It's up high enough you can swing the gear and do all sorts of things, and it's going to be great. So anyways, we're going to get started on the build here. Okay, the manual says to start with the verticals, so that's where we're going to start. So you just need a couple screws for each of those, and obviously you got to hook up the servo connection first. So we're going to do that. We'll hook them up, screw them in, and then we'll be right back. Okay, I've just about got the rudders on. Here's what you're going to use for the screws. They're the little flat-headed. Hope you can see they're the smaller ones of the four. Here's the other ones. These will be for the wings. So I'm going to put my last one in, and then my rudders will be completed. Okay, those are done. They go into here and here. As you can see, they are solidly on there. Now we're going to move on to the elevators. Okay, you're going to need your elevator halves. You're going to need the metal rods. You're also going to need here these and these screws. So these will be screwing into here. I'm going to put a little dab of glue on there. You're going to need your little collars and washers. And then you're going to need the little screw that goes into that, which are these other little guys that were in with these guys here in the middle pack. They were packaged with those. So mine, I mean, there's a bearing on the end. I showed you guys that before, which turns really good, but once it got in through this section, it wasn't real smooth. So I kind of kept working it a little bit and spinning it, and I got it moving pretty free. I don't know, nobody else has really talked about that, but since the screws go in here and lock into here, it must pivot in here, I'm assuming, with the bearing. So I would think you would want that fairly free. So I've kind of worked it a fair bit, like so, and just spinning it, and I've freed it up a lot. So a little tip for you guys. But anyways, what we're going to do here is we're going to put the collar in here with that little screw in it. I'm going to use a little Loctite on that one. I don't see a flat spot on there, and I've never seen anybody talk about it either, so maybe not a big deal, maybe a good deal. I might take a file and just put a little flat spot on this shaft here, just for some positive locking. There's probably no force pulling it out anyways, to be honest with you. And then you're going to put your fittings will go on here like this, and your screws, and I'm going to put a little dab of glue under it, and then these will be complete. So I'll be right back after I get that done. Okay, I have this stab on. As you can see here, here's kind of how it looks until you get the linkage on it. But it's on there. I have the collar in there. I have the spacer washer in between the two, and then the two screws go in there. It's nice and smooth. It really is. It's kind of cheesy though, in my opinion. I think a set screw would be better. Because as you can see here, I hope this is focusing and showing good. I mean, until I get a linkage on it, it's going to beat up the body. So I'm going to just go ahead and put the linkage on this side so it doesn't screw up this any more than it has to. And then I'll move on to the other side. But just real quick, there's those pieces, and then you'll be using these screws. They have a flat spot on the top. So then the only ones remaining here will be for your wings, so just so you know where they all go. And now for the linkages, you can see here it'll go in here like so. So once I get those on, I'll be right back. Alright, there you go. Here's how they said they want it in the middle hole here, and it says the end hole here in the instructions, but you don't really get an option for that. But anyways, this is the setup. You're supposed to measure, I'll have to look on the deal, I think from this body line up to the leading edge here is where you're supposed to have your measurement, but the other guys are saying just kind of make it flush with the back of these. I'll double check the front and let you know. once we get to that point. But here's one completed the elevator setup. So there you go. That's how it works. Moving on to the next one. One other thing I'm going to add here is what you get when I do build videos. You get tips. The first one, I just held it in my hand to put these screws in. You got to push on it pretty hard, so I suggest getting a thick cloth, putting it down on the table, something flat so it spreads out the whole load, and then you can do those. If they start to get tight, you can back up a little bit and then go in a little more and kind of work your way down in there, and then you'll get them snug. But that's an easy way for me. Okay, elevators are done. Got this one on, middle hole. Crank this out till, you know, you got 90 degrees of the servo arm from the servo, and this is about flush with the back of these little dudes. Like I said, final radio setup, we'll set up those things to make sure it's proper. What I did on this side a little different is I put the metal rod in and made sure these guys were in the two machined grooves so that it can never come out. Then you put the washer in, the elevator on, and this, and I put the linkage on to hold the elevator in place this way, and then I put the collar and stuff on this time on this side, and that went a lot smoother, and I thought that was a really good way to do it. So anyways, we're going to move on to the wings next. So here we go. Okay, now we're going to do the wings. You got to have this big carbon spar, which is going to go through here. You're going to have to, as I slide it in, I'm going to have to pull the wheels up a little bit so it gets into here. And then also in here you have the ribbon connector, they call it, which will plug into the PCB board, whatever you want to call it. So anyway, without further ado, let's get after it. It's probably going to take a little finagling here. I don't know how I do it without this stand though. I'm not going to lie, that thing is handy. Okay, so it plugs in. I know you guys probably can't see it real well. Hopefully you can see better on that side. I've got everything plugged in pretty well here. Flip her up for you. So there you can see everything's going good. We'll just kind of work it down in there. You're going to have to keep lifting up on that tire because it catches on the body a little bit. Push, lift, and you need a couple more hands to make this really easy. But boom, now we'll put the two screws in, that side's done. This airplane built so easy, guys. I'm not gonna lie, this cruising stand really is handy. I'm not sure how I'd be doing this without that thing. Awesome. Okay, and to secure the wing, you're gonna use the screws like this. Is that focusing right? So to secure the wing, I'm gonna use the screws like this. Obviously there's only two. I can see very easily everything is lined up just like it should be. Looks like it goes into a brass nut or something up in there. Piece of cake. I'm like almost done with this build already. It took nothing, guys. Make sure you check out my video on the F-16. You guys have all seen videos, I'm sure, of my camo F-16 V2. Lock it down, boom. Other than putting the linkages on, this side's done. Now I'll come around and do that side. Okay, here we go, side two, same drill. Your little ribbon cable, it's got little slots on the top, just like a balance tab. Not a big deal. Get this baby put on there. I'm excited to see this thing on its wheels. Oop. This is where that third hand would come in handy right there. Come on. There we go. Get the ribbon cable plugged in. Great addition on that, not gonna lie. Good job, Motion. Boom, there it snapped on in there. Everything's looking good. Now I can put my screws in there, and then I'll probably Probably set up the radio first before I go to putting any more linkages on. I just wanted the ones on the elevators to keep it from banging around, since they are kind of free flying around there. Make life a little easier. Pretty stoked about that stand though. That just came today. It's what I talked about in the unboxing video that I was waiting for. Man, I'm glad I waited. This makes life so much easier. Okay, snug snug. Alright, let's flip this bad boy over. Pretty stoked about this. Not sure where to grab it. Very careful. I had to put that 2x4 down there to keep the rudders off the ground. Not an issue being upright. Okay, well, let me get my receiver in there and then we'll see if we can do a gear swing. Okay, I got a receiver just chucked in there. I did order a nice Lemon RX with a gyro. It's not here yet, so I threw in an AR9000 I had laying around with a remote. But anyways, because I'm running Spectrum, I've got everything bound up for now. So without further ado, flipping the gear switch now. Not sure what's up with it freaking out here. I'm guessing it's my servo or my radio, or that receiver not working. Getting some issues, but anyways, the gear works, so we can get it down on its wheels and set up some linkages because everything else should be centered up. You see the elevators are working. Seems to be just the rudders that are angry for some reason. Maybe that receiver's not good. Okay, here I've got the rudders done. It shows in the manual they want them on the farthest outside. And the farthest outside, again, these were already installed, so not really up to you. So I've got that, got them lined up. That finishes that. All we've got is the aileron and the flaps left, and we're going to have a ready to go bird. I'll just do a little inverted gear check. It's my receivers freaking out, so just ignore the rudders freaking here, but flipping the switch now. It's got quite a delay. You can see those magnets snapping shut. Flipping the switch now. Awesome. Okay, got the flaps and ailerons done. I had to reverse the flaps for the Spectrum JR because otherwise they were normally down, but here's how your linkages are. They all go one hole in. But that's it. I just got to check some throws, set some CG, and the build is complete. I'll flip it over and do a few glamour shots for y'all, and that's it, guys. It seriously took nothing to assemble this bad boy. I'm just going to show you how those wheels go down in there and pivot. It's kind of neat. Isn't that cool? Here it comes. Awesome. Just neat. Okay, interesting turn of events here. I swapped out receivers because it was doing the jittery on the rudder. Figured, well, maybe I had a bad receiver, but no. I took the rudder connections out of the blue board and just wired them into the receiver. I don't have throttle steering. That must be wide in somewhere down underneath. I'm not sure how that all works, but just taking those out got rid of the jitter, so I don't know what's going on here. I'll try reconnecting them up and see if maybe it was just a bad connection. Okay, yeah. So I plugged the rudders back into the blue board, plugged it back into the rudder, and now it's freaking out again. So I don't know what's going on here. I'm not touching anything. They intermittently work. Just gonna have to give Motion a call, see what they say. Okay, I did the conversions for you guys if you're in the US. High and low rates, the breakdowns. Here's where they want you to do your almost a 1/4 inch of up is what that will be. So you're going from the hard body line, the front of the full flying stab here, the elevator, so 0.21 of an inch. So you guys, that is right up in there, kind of a hard spot. Let me get the flaps out of the way real quick. So that is this distance right in here. So you're going to go from this line here to the center of this guy right here, guys. That's what they're calling 5.5 millimeters, or just under a 1/4 of an inch. So, but like I said, Pilot Ryan, Captain Mike, he put his flush here and was happy with it. So I got mine there. I'll double check how close they are in the front, but everything else is pretty well set up and we're really close, guys. Let me just adjust my throws and then I'll show you what they look like when they're working. Okay guys, here is your by the book throws. So here's your elevator. We'll start with the ailerons. Here's your ailerons on high rate and low rate. Not a big difference, a little bit. Here's your flaps on low and full by the book. Here's your elevator on high rate and low rate. Not a big difference there either. And then the rudder. I left that one on high. I just changed the expo for the different ones. That's how I set them up. So anyways, that's pretty much by the book except for the rudders. Hope you guys like it. What I ended up doing, just in case some of you guys have an issue, is I found the rudder steering and I punched that into another channel. So I mixed that in with a bunch of expo on its own, so you can hear the rudders are solid. We got no wiggle wiggle. Everything's working. Everything's good. Initially I kind of brain farted and figured, you know, usually with electrics you plug in the throttle, you get power. Not the case. You have a BEC on this one, so that's going to be the one with the diode or the magnet on it here. So there's that. So I don't know if you guys can hear it outside. It's supposed to get windy up to like 50-60 miles an hour today, so it's going to be a little gnarly. So I don't know when this will fly, sadly. It's going to be living in the shop for a little bit and as an ornament. So I guess that's it for tonight, guys. Next time we come back, hopefully we'll have some nice weather and get this bad boy in the air. Like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you visit Cruising with a sweet stand down there. And in the comments, let me know what you think, what you'd like to see. Let me know if you've flown one and give me some tips so everything goes smooth for me. Thanks for watching.